are Locked On Giants POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, the defense kept them in it. The offense struggled to put up points, and because of it all, the Giants are now 2-4. They fall to Cincinnati 17-7 in primetime in front of the home folks. As we said, Giants are now 2-4 after the loss. Cincinnati entered with a high-powered offense, so kudos to Shane Bowen's defense for keeping them down. But in the end, too many missed opportunities, too many mistakes. And again, 17-7 the loss. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, glad we get the chance to know each other. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. You can follow me on X at Jay Berman. That is JayBerman. Welcome to the Locked On Giants postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Giants podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Giants game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. As we said, 17-7 the loss. Giants now 2-4. Cincinnati gets their second win of the season. We'll discuss everything Daniel Jones, who once again looked competent, but still not enough. We'll certainly chat Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, who are just absolute studs tonight. We have to discuss the lack of the running game in the first half. We'll do that. When can we expect back both Malik Neighbors and Devin Singletary? Because clearly they miss Neighbors. All that coming up on the postcast. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Again, the final score, 17-7. Daniel Jones and company, so close, but no cigar. They fall to 2-4 as the Bengals come to town. And to be quite honest, the Giants had every right to win this game, certainly had their opportunities, a couple of missed kicks, both of those in the fourth quarter. Daniel Jones played well enough, despite the fact that he was only 22 of 41 for 205 and a pick. The running game didn't really get going until the second half. The Giants did enter play with 22 sacks, chalk up 4 more of them, so they now lead the league with 26. The first of the night came courtesy of Brian Burns, who was just amazing tonight, a man on a mission. So was sexy Dexter Lawrence. The first sack of the night went to Burns, his third of the season. He had 2 highlight reel plays in the very first quarter, and that was a sign of things to come. We'll break down the defense as well. But again, close but no cigar. Final score, 17-7. As we said, Daniel Jones, 22 of 41, 205 through the air, did not throw a touchdown. In fact, the Giants did score a touchdown. That was the Tracy score, but it was the Giants' first and only touchdown on offense at home this year. That's right. They kicked 2 field goals against the Vikings in week 1. They lost by kicking 5 field goals to the Cowboys on the Thursday night several weeks back before the Seattle win. And now just 1 score tonight. Of course, they missed 2 field goals, both in the fourth quarter. Both coming courtesy of Greg Joseph. The Giants have certainly had their kicking woes for pretty much most of the year. If we take it back to Gano, Jamie Gillen didn't punt tonight. Obviously, Greg Joseph missed not 1, but 2 kicks, both in the fourth quarter, which would have changed the game, specifically the first one. That would have tied it up at 10 at that point. But again, couldn't get the job done. 17-7, the final score. As we look through the numbers, Darius Slayton caught 6 balls for 57 yards, as did Tyrone Tracy, 6 for 57. They each go 6 for 57. Wandale had 5 for 50. Both Slayton and Wandale, 11 targets. So Jones was looking there, really looking to spread the wealth without Malik Neighbors, and we'll get to Neighbors, who, according to Mike Tirico and the NBC broadcast tonight, looks like he will play next week against the Eagles. The 1 o'clock Eastern time slot next Sunday, and we'll get to week 7, obviously. A very interesting day inside the NFC East. All right, we talked about that 0 run game the Giants had, really either side had in the first half, until the Giants scoring drive. their first and only scoring drive, which came in the third quarter. Tracy's first NFL touchdown. Giants on that drive went for it twice on fourth down. They went for it on fourth down 5 times tonight. Brian Dable showing desperation, 0 problems with it. Once you started going for fourth down, you basically at that point in time knew it was 4-down territory the rest of the way, especially when you're deep into the fourth quarter. But again, it was a 16-play drive. The Giants have had a few of those long drives this season. This one was capped off by the Tracy touchdown run, but again, that was it. Azeez Ojulari filling in for Kayvon Thibodeau was amazing, specifically in the first half. Giants had 3 sacks in the first half, 2 of them from Ojulari, who, as we said, stepped up in a big way in the absence of Kayvon Thibodeau. Andrew Thomas, a killer illegal man downfield penalty, wiped out that big Slayton play, a big momentum killer early on. B.J. Hill, the ex-Giant, forces the errant pass by Jones. That turned out to be the pick. That also killed momentum. So the Giants really throughout the first and second halves certainly had their chances to put points on the board. The offense could not do it. And because of it, the Giants continue to stay under 500. They haven't been 500 in over a year. Early last season was the last time they were at 500 or better. And again, they fall to 2-4. More specifically, they're 0-3 at home. They scored 6 points against the Vikings in week 1. They scored 15 points on 5 field goals in the Thursday nighter against the Cowboys. That was the second home game. And then the third home game, another primetime game tonight, they scored just the 7 points in the third quarter. That was it. So 6, 15, and 7. Giants just not getting the job done at home. Of course, they've got the road wins against the Browns in Cleveland and the huge win last week against the Seahawks in Seattle. But again, just those 2 wins. That's it. Giants playing much better ball away from home. All right, as we said, Daniel Jones, probably good enough to get the win, but also good enough not to. And that's probably the most frustrating thing with Daniel Jones. He shows you, as he did both with Dallas and Seattle, and then again tonight against Cincinnati, he shows you flair. He shows you he can get the job done. But at the same time, it's the maddening mistakes that want you to just scream, punch a wall, pull out your hair. Do whatever you can to release the tension. It is frustrating, and we saw more of that tonight. Again, kudos to Shane Bowen's defense. The Bengals had 30-plus points in 3 straight games. They were averaging 28 per game. Yes, admittedly, they're 1-4 coming into tonight. But they were putting up points. They put up points against Baltimore, albeit in a loss. Well, lots of people think Baltimore's defense is one of the best in the game. Tells you all you need to know about the Giants' defense. Once again, holding a high-powered offense who admittedly has struggled, but scoring over 30 points a game really for the better part of a month. And the Giant defense shut them down. Joe Burrow, 19 of 28 for 208, did not throw for a score, obviously ran for one, the 47-yarder on a busted play, the longest running score of Burrow's career. Now, Jamar Chase did have that huge drop in the first half. We'll forgive him for that because the Bengals went on to win it. However, the Giants locked down Chase, had just 5 catches on 72 yards, which is respectable. He had that huge third down reception for over Flott up the left side. But T. Higgins was the not necessarily a game breaker in any way, but he was where Joe Burrow turned his attention. 7 targets, 7 catches, 77 yards for Higgins. Again, Higgins had 7 catches. Chase had 5 catches. And away we go. Joe Burrow, as we said, just 19 of 28 for 208. So the Giants defense certainly did their job. Even in defeats. Again, 17-7 was the final score. As we told you, at one point, Mike Tirico on the broadcast tonight suggested that Neighbors would be back next week for the Philadelphia game. Couldn't come any sooner, could it? Because the Giants need him. You could see, despite the fact that they spread the wealth again, 11 targets for Slayton, 11 targets for Wandale, 6 targets for Tracy. They really tried to spread things around. It's something they weren't doing as much when Neighbors was in the lineup. However, Neighbors is not in the lineup. And he hasn't been for 2 weeks, and the Giants went 1-1 without him, assuming, knock on wood, that he plays next week against the Eagles, who by no means can chalk this up as an easy victory over the Giants. The Giants comfortably over the Browns. Browns gave the Eagles a fight today. Yes, the Eagles emerged victorious, so that's another win for them. But Giants and Eagles next week should be interesting. Giants defense shows up, comes to play. They do the job. They keep their team in the game. If they could just capitalize on the mistakes, as we said, 2 fourth quarter field goal misses. Slayton drop, a key drop. Daniel Jones, the batted pass that turned into an interception that, for all intents and purposes, was his fault. So mistakes and situations the Giants have just not been able to take advantage of. All right, we'll take a quick break. As we said, we'll discuss the need for Neighbors to get back as soon as we can. We'll once again look at the numbers of both Jones and Burrow. And as we said, we will look ahead to week number 7. That is Sunday against the Eagles. Hey guys, your sex life is important, but I get it. Your schedule is busy. You don't have the time to go to the doctor to get treated for ED. Well, listen up. Through HIMS, you can get a personalized ED treatment without leaving home. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. HIMS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints, Viagra and Cialis, and other generics for up to 95% cheaper. All you have to do is answer a series of questions, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option for you. Your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance necessary, and there's just one low price to cover everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's hims.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply. See the websites for details and important safety information. A subscription is required. Price varies based on the product and subscription plan. All right, I'm going to be honest. I didn't love college the first time around, but now I've got a little bit different of a take. I find history fascinating. Lucky for me and you too, because our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses. Here's a few of the few courses that are available. Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution. Introduction to Free Market Economics. The Great American Story, A Land of Hope. That's one that I would definitely take. Plus, there's the rise and fall of the Roman Republic. And since I just visited Rome, true story, I'm interested in that. And there's a brand new documentary style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon. All right, as we said, we are back. And again, the final score, 17-7. Bengals escape. They beat the Giants, sending Big Blue to a 2-4 mark on the season. And unfortunately for Blue, not doing it for the home folks. They lose for a third time in 3 tries. That's right. They're 0-3 at home after the 17-7 loss. It was tight the entire way, just 7-0 at the break. In fact, Joe Burrow scored on a 47-yard rushing score on the first drive, the opening drive. You figured, this could be a shootout or at least a blowout. It wasn't. Giants D stiffened up from that point. And really the only other score was the field goal and touchdown late in the fourth quarter when by that point the game was over. Again, zero rushing from either side in the first half. It was really, really interesting to see who would open up the passing game via the run in the second half. And in fact, that was the New York Giants. That's right. Jones went for 56 on the ground. Tracy went for 50 and his first touchdown in the NFL. We talked about the combination of Azeez Ojulari and Brian Burns combining for 4 sacks. Giants now lead the NFL in sacks with 27. 26. They had 22 coming in. They registered 4 tonight. The Bengals certainly had their chances in the first half to put it away. But as we said, kudos to Shane Bowen's defense for stepping up, allowing the Giants and really the Meadowlands to thrive and really beef up the team, if you will, because the defense kept the team in the game. So everyone was still, 1, in the ballpark, and 2, very much into it because the game was still very much in doubt. Those opportunities that Cincinnati missed could have changed it greatly. Could have been up 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then the crowd leaves, the crowd boos. You know what happens then. Luckily, it didn't happen. And luckily for the Giants, they've showed up on defense. We talked about all the 4th downs, 5 4th-down tries tonight for Brian Daboll and company. What's interesting is that when they went for it on 4th and 2 in the first drive of the second half, turned out to be a mistake because obviously they didn't get it. But it turned out working as the Giants recovered a Zach Moss fumble 2 plays later after the mistake of not getting the 4th down. Now, Cincy, get this. Wanted to get this stat in because it's good. Cincy lost 2 fumbles all of last season. The Zach Moss lost fumble was already the 4th of this season, and they've played 6 games. They too are 2-4. So again, 2 fumbles all of last year, already 4 fumbles lost for Cincinnati through just 6 games. So Cincinnati had been struggling. Looks like they tried to get healthy against the Ravens. Despite the loss, they put up lots of points. As we said, the Bengals, 30-plus points in 3 straight games. They were averaging 28 points a game coming into tonight. That average will go down thanks to Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Shane Bowen and Azeez Ojulari, really all of them. B.J. Hill, the ex-Giant, he showed up tonight, forced that errant pass by Jones, the deflection, which was really a terrible pass by Jones. It was then intercepted, killed the momentum of a good drive. We spoke about that earlier as well. Again, the Giants are now 2-4 overall. However, not all is dead because it was a very interesting day inside the NFC East. Ravens beat the Commanders. Washington now 4-2. Eagles did beat the Browns barely, so the Eagles are now 3-2. The Lions blasted the Cowboys 47-9. Scorigami. The Cowboys are now 3-3. So no one's running away with it. Commanders 4-2. Eagles 3-2. Cowboys 3-3. Giants 2-4. So they're not dead yet. Obviously, with 2 games left against the Eagles, which starts next week. They still have a game left against the Cowboys in Dallas and have a game against the Commanders in the Meadowlands. So they're not dead yet. Tonight would have been a good night to get that job done, but obviously that did not happen. Again, 17-7, the final score. Daniel Jones and company tried. It really felt like they tried, and they really tried to implement the running game, specifically in the second half with those quarterback sneaks up the gut. We saw plenty of that from Daniel Jones. We even heard Chris Collinsworth talk about how they were so surprised to see how well Daniel Jones was running, considering he's less than a year removed from the ACL, which happened in Vegas last season in November. However, perhaps Chris isn't listening to the postcast as much as we'd like him to, because we've discussed the fact that Daniel Jones actually looks slow coming back from the ACL. We've discussed that multiple times. We never once said that Daniel Jones was a burner. However, he looks slow this season compared to where he was pre-ACL. So it's just funny that Collinsworth was discussing that. All right, as we said, we'll look ahead to week 7. We'll get those final stats on the board for you. And again, take a look at the Eagles matchup, which is coming up next week. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. How about this? One Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on PrizePicks every week in October. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in October. 4 weeks of free wins. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when October ends. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in most states. That includes California, Texas, and Georgia. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, we're back. As we said, a 17-7 loss by the Giants to the Cincinnati Bengals. Giants certainly had their chances, certainly had their opportunities. As we said, 2 key field goal misses from Greg Joseph, both in the fourth quarter, the second of which probably didn't matter as much. It was going to require an onside kick after that as well. So we'll give him a pass on the second one, although they were both hooks wide left. So the first one was bad, and that changed the game in the second half completely. All right, 17-7. As we said, the Giants now 0-3. They got smoked by the Vikings in week 1. That, of course, was at home, 0-1. At that point, the Giants went to Washington, lost that game as well. Went to Cleveland, beat the Browns in Cleveland 21-15, then lost to the Cowboys, beat the Seahawks, lost to the Bengals. Point is, they scored 6 points against the Vikings at home on September 8th. They scored 15 points without the luxury of a touchdown against the Cowboys on September 26th on the Thursday nighter, lost that game, and scored just 1 touchdown tonight against the Bengals in front of the home folks again. So I've added it all up. 1 touchdown in front of the home folks. They're 0-3 at home. They got the Eagles next week. Then it's on the road for the Steelers, then the Commanders and Panthers. And we'll get into it, as we said, coming up in the subsequent weeks. But again, Daniel Jones, 22 of 41, did throw the pick, which was a killer, a real momentum killer. Jones did rush the ball 11 times for 56 yards. As we said, the long run, really the biggest play of the day, was the Joe Burrow, basically untouched until he got to the pylon, jumping in to the end zone. As we said, he got to nearly 20 miles per hour, and according to NBC, it's the fastest sprint of Joe Burrow's NFL career. It was the longest one for a touchdown, that's for sure. And again, Burrow went 19 of 28. The numbers were not great, considering where the offense was for Cincinnati prior to. Giants have a good enough defense. That defense is going to keep them in games, especially when they get Thibodeau back in about a month, probably 4 games. But again, the defense is certainly good enough. Hopefully it improves. Hopefully the offense improves as well. Again, 17-7, the final score. As we said, the Giants will face the Eagles in the Meadowlands. Let's get a quick early number on that game. Again, that's a 1 o'clock game next Sunday. The Giants and Eagles are in the Meadowlands. Giants getting 4.5, total 45.5. As we said, the Eagles barely beat the Browns today. All right, thank you for making Locked On Sports New York your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find the new Locked On NFL with 2 shows every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, before we get out of here, I want to mention our partners in crime over at Locked On Giants. It's Patricia Treda. She handles all the stuff. She's the best. Follow, subscribe, enjoy. Again, 17-7 final score. Giants fall again. They're now 2-4. They head home to their homes for another home game. We'll see if they can put one in the win column against the Eagles next week. Again, Giants 4.5-point underdogs at this point in time. 17-7, the final score. Giants are now 2-4. We are out.